I like two models in the Hyundai range, the i30N and the i30 Fastback. If one was to merge these two cars, would it mean the best Hyundai in the world? This is the Hyundai i30 Fastback N, a 5-door liftback on steroids. There are large air intakes in the front bumper, a spoiler with a red stripe, 19-inch rims expose red brake calipers. In the back, there is an integrated spoiler which has been additionally extended with a plastic element. There is also a double exhaust, a diffuser and a triangle fog light. Yes, Hyundai i30N as well as i30 Fastback N get launch control. That should keep the clutch safe for a bit longer and make you look like a hero taken off from the lights. There are more things which will make you look like a hero, like auto rev matching or an electronic diff, and a bunch of settings which let you adapt the i30 Fastback N to your needs and skills. And you better have some skills, because this car has 275 horsepower and almost 380 Nm of torque with overboost. Even if for a hot hatch, this car is rather easy to handle. There is no denying most things are a direct carryover from the hatchback. The cockpit is virtually the same. The main difference are the buttons. These used to be bluish, nice blue color like the i30N hatchback was, the launch color, and here they're black, so that's the main difference. Now, speaking of color, this paint here, the gray paint, is called Shadow Gray, and it's the i30N launch color. I would like to talk a bit more about the drive mode buttons. On the left there is the regular drive mode button, and on the right there is the N mode button. Why bother with two buttons or extra drive modes? And why make me click twice the N button for the personalized N mode? Perhaps it's to make sure I know what I'm doing, but in my opinion, this is unnecessarily complicated. It's not a deal breaker, but unnecessarily complicated. Just like the hatchback, also Fastback N is very quick, tight, pleasant to drive, and the N mode takes you into another dimension where everything is like in Billy Idol's song. More, more, more. I wouldn't make very good Billy Idol, would I? Hyundai assures the i30N and Fastback N are just as good on public roads as they are on a track. Unfortunately, no track time for me this time, but on the road, both cars are indeed very fast and have good grip. In the hatchback, I did complain about the front running wide, but it had quite worn tires. This Fastback N has less than 2,000 kilometers on these tires, and the weather is great, so I can feel the electronic diff do its magic when I accelerate out of a corner. It's a great feeling when the car pulls you inside the corner rather than trying to spit you out. Under normal circumstances, Hyundai i30 Fastback N Performance rides on Pirelli P0s, less powerful variants get Michelin Pilot Super Sports, but this one is on Winter Continentals anyway. Exhaust sound suits this car very well. It's a bit of a toy and it sounds like it, but don't go nuts when the engine's cold. There are yellow lights on the rev counter to warn you that the engine is not ready for full attack. As it warms up, they gradually disappear. Another useful feature are lights which light up as you approach the red line. You'll see them flashing even as you're focused on the road, and you won't hit the limiter. The gearbox, it has a short throw, gears engage easily, and you get auto rev matching to help you downshift fast. Now you can turn it off and try and do it yourself, however the pedals are spread quite wide, so good luck with that. This technique is called heel and toe because you brake with your toes and use your heel to blip the throttle just before you downshift. Well, at least that's the theory. What is it with driving position in these hot hatches? The driving position is too high. It was the same thing in the i30N hatchback. I mean, I ditched the electric seats just to sit an inch lower. If you want to sit higher, go ahead, you can. See, there's plenty of adjustment. Look, 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 look. But I want to sit lower, okay? That's all I want. Steering hasn't changed either. At 12:1 it is very direct. Ground clearance is 8 mm lower than in the standard car. At 132 mm you will be scraping that nice red spoiler. At least this time I didn't scratch any wheels. The brakes. Very effective, and they don't seem to fade even when the car is driven hard. There is extra cooling through the air intakes in the bumper. Yes, they are real. So the N Performance model gets 345 mm discs in the front, 314 mm discs in the rear. And finally, we get to something that's actually changed, and that would be the suspension. I mean, there are still struts in the front, multi-link in the back, but in the Fastback N, it's slightly tuned to be a bit softer. I remember in the i30N hatchback, it was just too harsh for everyday use. But here, regardless of whether I'm driving in normal mode or N mode, it's usable on normal roads. There are no unpleasant vibrations carried over through the steering wheel. Hyundai i30 Fastback N is just more user-friendly in everyday life, and that's great news if you want to buy one. Like in the hatchback, also Fastback N with a 2-liter 275 horsepower engine used at least 10 liters per 100 kilometers combined. According to WLTP spec sheet, it should use above 8 liters combined. That's 34 mpg UK, 28 US. With a 50-liter tank and a heavy right foot, the fuel arrow plummets quicker than you'd like. Something one of my viewers noticed in another Hyundai Kia car review. Now, this car, according to specification, has LED headlights. So why the leveling knob? Auto leveling lights are mandatory only above 2000 lumens. So we have to assume that most current Hyundai and Kia cars have headlights which are less bright than 2000 lumens. From a practical point of view, Hyundai i30 Fastback N has almost 70 liters smaller boot than the standard version. There's a stiffness bar which may impede loading bigger items. There's a mini spare under the floor though. In the back, there is the same amount of space as in the standard car, but there's no ski hatch. Hyundai i30 Fastback N prices start at €31,100 for the 250 horsepower model, which is about €600 more than the hatchback. This N Performance version with options costs around $36,000. There are plenty of N badges inside and outside the car. Do you know what the N signifies? It's not for Nürburgring, nor is it related to any other sporty noun or verb. The letter N looks like a series of corners, and this is a cool explanation. Also, the whole Hyundai i30 Fastback N concept is cool. I think this car is more usable in everyday life than the harsh riding hatchback. It also, in my opinion, looks better than the hatchback. It may be slightly less exciting, but if this means we're going to see more of these cars on the road, then why not? And what do you think about the Hyundai i30 Fastback N and its very long name? Let me know in the comment section below. Subscribe if you haven't. Press that bell icon to be up to date with all of my new stuff. Watch more of my reviews and join me for new episodes every Friday. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.